Alright. Guys, welcome back. So you're probably wondering why I just moved on to another game without finishing Doom. Technically I did. I'd done a video just finishing the mission off. It was only like a 30-40 minute video. That's why I didn't do a stream of it, because it would only been 30-40 minutes. It wouldn't have been worth a stream. So I did it as a video. Which was the only reason I'm having trouble uploading. It's nearly there. But yeah, that's why I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna put the recording on too. Yes, guys, I'm gonna start taking this a bit more responsible. Crap, where's my little window gone? My window's gone. Window. Damn, there you go. Why is my microphone not working? My microphone's not being capped. Why isn't it being capped? Sorry guys, just getting my earphones checked out. Yeah, it's being maxed here. That's weird. It should be maxing out. Alright, either way, who cares? Let's get started. Turn up on my window. There it is. So yeah, this is a good game, guys. So it was made in 2014, I think, by Ubisoft out of all companies. So it was an indie type of game. So yeah, I thought we'll play this. I don't think there's any content for this game, extra content really. There might be some extra, but yeah, it's required to play. Hey, I don't give a shit. No, I don't care. I want to see if there's any content here worth getting. I don't think there is. Okay, basically it's okay. Oh, okay, so it's just basically cheating. Yeah, it's basically just stuff you don't really need. Alright, either way, let's go. Play it normal way, guys. I don't need the add-ons. Alright, yeah, guys, so finally a new game. I'm not a casual, not playing as an expert, because this is a stream, not a friggin' pro game.
Child, tuck yourself in bed and let me tell a story.
There we go.
Lemuria, a long-lost kingdom, and a girl born for glory. In Austria was a crown land ruled by a duke.
Yep.
Aurora was his daughter, child of a duchess mysterious, beloved by her father. He raised the girl alone. They were rarely apart, till the duke felt lonely and misplaced his heart. It was the Great Friday before Easter 1895. Players performed for the Duke, his new bride at his side. That night Aurora went to sleep. The fire burned down low. She caught a chill that spread. Her skin was cold as snow. At dawn they found her, vacant, Aurora's light gone out. Her father wept and pleaded, but there could be no doubt. For all intents and purposes, Aurora was dead. And yet, once upon a time, she awoke in a strange land instead.
Yeah, it's a weird land, guys. I'm not too sure. I like this game. This game's a good game. Now, I'm going to try to collect as much as possible, because it is one of those games. But I won't be able to collect everything, because I don't know where everything is. Not off the top of my head, and I don't want to use YouTube to do it, because that'll take me forever. Yep, everything seems to be ready to go, guys. Hopefully we can get started, because it's just a good game. I like this one. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoying. It's going to be fun. A girl and the firefly. So it's a lot of yeah, it's an RPG, guys. I think there is a map, but I don't know. No, wait. I don't know if there is a map. I can't remember if there is or not. I want to go this way. Definitely, there has some upgrades since the last I played it. Nothing major. Yep, we can't really go this way. We've got to wait until we get an ability. There's an ability a bit further down the track where you can basically glide around. Once you get that, you can basically go anywhere. But it's not that far into the game. It's like right near the end of this level. Alright, let's push it. Push, push, push. Go up here. Bam, bam. Yeah, it's an RPG type of game, guys. It doesn't look like one at the moment because of the way it is, but yeah. Come on. Do I know where I'm going? The answer is no. I don't remember it well enough to know everything, guys, because I haven't played it for ages. Oh, nice light tree. The tree's nice and bright. There's our little friend. Yeah, there's gonna be a rhyming in this game. It's a bit annoying. That's not how mold works, dude. You did just say that. You dense, silly firefly. Alright, let's go. But yeah, we can use the firefly to float around, guys, see? It's useful. Not at the moment. Alright, let's go. Holy crapperoni, look at that, guys. Look what's in the distance. A big giant... Oh, no. Giant, I guess the word being? I'll go straight across, hopefully. Yeah, I'm going to try to get to the end part of the game, level, so we can get our abilities. Okay, so what's that mean? Oh, yep. Let me move it. Yep. So that's how you get your life back and your magic stuff, guys. Don't really need to use it at the moment, because there's no need to use it. Hmm? Trade a pass. Not yet. Okay, yeah, I remember what we got to do here. Yeah, so this race, right, these things. Oh. There we go. A little bit of a puzzle, nothing too serious. Now, this is nowhere near as long as Doom was. Actually, if anything, we'd probably get this game done in a few days. Oh, right, yeah, we get the sword. I forgot about that. She has a sword in this game. And she drops it straight away. Alright, so it explains how to fight. These guys are easy, though. Now you got a few abilities, guys. Potions, flee, party, you know, stuff like that. Now, I think attack is probably our best plan, so let's attack. Slash, we can do defend as well. They all have their own time, but this one's the one we want to do. Alright. He will attack me back. Ow. And now we can attack again. And he's dead. And now we've got some XP out of it. That's basically how you level up in this game, guys. So this RPG, or JRPG, whatever way we want to call it, I call it more RPG, but... Yeah, well, I call it RPG because it's actually made from Ubisoft, which I think is an American company, so... Go. Yeah, I'm getting from behind. I'm surprised a strike will give you the advantage. Basically, yeah, you can attack him straight away. I'll take about 2 hits. Oh boy. We could probably... Yeah, we see. Damn. I was hoping he wouldn't do it. Oh, he didn't attack me. He used his strength. Okay. That did not work out for him very well. Leveled up. HP went up. MP went up. You know, this is how I like leveling, guys. It's a generic type of thing. Oh boy, yeah, there's a whole leveling system here, guys. And she's not the only one who has that. There's other parties as well. So we've got this one to get increased by 1. We can get that, or we can get that. Now, I gotta work out how long it takes. So it's a long time. Very long time. That one does matter, but not as much as the others. Oh, I'll do this one first. Alright, we've only got 1 person, so... what's this one? Oh, yeah, this one's cool. Yeah, I do have a little bit of things we can do in this game, but we'll get there as we need them. I don't even need them, to be honest. Got him again. One here. Battery fell out, guys. This is gonna be a problem. I gotta get a new battery. Battery pack needs to be replaced. Which one need to go to the toilet? Ironically. Alright, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. Yep, 1 hit. So you just keep leveling up in these areas and should be fine. So probably will go back to the wells a few times to get the levels up. If I remember correctly, the bosses stay dead, but these ones don't. And here's what we're going to be collecting. What's that do? Oh, good, 50%. That's a good item. Let's keep going. Slowly and steadily. I wish I could run. They need a Mario running ability. Oh, boy, there's 2 of them. He's dead. Yep. Pretty straightforward, guys. Defense. Where's defense here? No, wait. Defense is under attack, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, he didn't even use it. He didn't even... Okay. That's 2 done. Level 3. Now it's starting to slow down a little bit. But you should be able to level up pretty easily. Now, if I remember correctly, you got to do this game twice. You get behind him. We get one out the way straight away, so... 9, okay, we're getting a bit harder now. It's just one of my... I like this game a lot, guys. It's one of my favorites back in 2014. Now, yeah, I didn't think he'll be able to hurt me. One more and we should be at level 4. Don't really need to level up, but hey. I like this game because the mechanics are very simple. Not super long though. Definitely not long game. It's a relatively short one actually. But I don't really need to collect anything when it comes to like HP and all that because we're not that weak. Oh, what happened there? How did I fall down? Oh, I hate when that happens. Right, we're out. Now where are we going? Okay. Just push that across. So a lot of RPG elements. So yeah, guys, we're getting there. We're getting back to normal. We're getting back to the roots of our games. These type of games I love. I love RPG games. I love adventure games. I do like racing games every so often. Same with shooters, but I don't play battle royale games or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, him I can't deal with. Queen of Light. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of enemies in the sky, as you notice, but I can't access them yet. Yeah, obviously, rocks don't grow. Alright, we're getting there. We're nearly there. Fucking hell. Right. I think we should use magic starlight. Oh, wait. And she's defeated. No. I'm not, though. Okay, so what does normal attack do to her? Alright. Definitely a good level up. Now she's a little bit stronger. Good, we're getting there. Okay, we're in this area now. Now we're getting somewhere. I want to know where we're going first, so... Alright. Oh, there's 2 of yous. I think the best plan, guys, is to attack the weaker one. Always remove the weakness. He's done, now we just gotta attack the other one. Bend. I mean, he'll be able to hit me, but if yeah, make it harder for him. I don't know how much will that hurt him at all. $14's pretty strong. Ow. Okay, 3. Should be able to hit him with a sword. So 14 is strong. What do I get for a sword? 7. So yeah, magic does double the damage. Alright, hopefully we get that level 4 time we've done here. Alright. We're going this way, was useless. We'll have to go back. Alright, up there, I think. Let's see if she turns around. Alright, defeat the weak one first, obviously. So I'll make it next to him. Okay, 2. I can live with that. Damn, 1 hit. So the ghost of one with the lights. Remember that. Alright, I can't go back. I can't go up here. A little bit later, guys, we'll get the flying ability, and then we can really explore the world. Something's calling me inside. I'll have to go to the toilet, though. So yeah, so far so good, guys. Just enjoying the game. One of my mates is in port at the moment. I don't know how she's going. I'll probably know when she has a... I don't expect it to go bad, but who knows. So what am I supposed to do? Get up there? Oh. Oh. Okay, never mind, never mind. I worked it out. That took me a while, but I worked it out. Guys, what's going on with this channel? The channel is so quiet. I mean, yes, this is my plan, to do these first thing in the morning when I get out of bed. Basically. Or after I have a shower, at least. The Minecraft stuff, it's always afterwards. Usually after lunch. And then all the other videos can be done later in the day if I want to do them. If I choose to do them. You know what? There we go. Yep, let's go. Come on, we can get her, Right, she's good as dead. Well, we know we can beat her in 1 strike, so we'll do that first. Bottom of the light. The other guy is just a pushover in general. He won't be able to hurt me. Yeah, like I said, not able to hurt me at all. Yes, level 5. I'm happy with level 5. I know, something satisfying about getting leveling up. That's always a cheerful thing. Oh, crap. I fell off the edge. God damn it. I have to go back around it. Oh, no big deal. Take 2 minutes to get back up there. Once we get the flying ability, yeah, it won't be a problem. Don't care. I really don't give a shit about this because I've got 100 of them in the way. I'm full powered. I was about to walk off the edge and put some. Oh, right, in here. This looks interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of puzzles in this too, guys. Not a lot of monsters, to be honest. There are definitely a fair bit of them. But they're not like every 5 seconds. They're not, and then you can easily avoid them. Uh-huh. Alright. I think I'll get the hint. Push that. Now, I played this ages ago, so I don't remember this game inside out like I should. But I know enough of it. Oh, it's over there. I've got to go. Alright. Yep. Oh, yep, I get it. I've got to push this one across. Alright, I'm getting it. I'm not that stupid. This morning, after all, guys, I just got out of bed not long ago, so it should be pretty good. And they do kind of tell you where to go, by the way. Alright, that's it. Oh. Okay, you know what we need, don't you, guys? We need something to hold that down. Well, we got back down to get the, yeah, so this thing. God damn it. We gotta wait. So yeah, guys, if you just joined us, we're playing Children of Light. It was made by Ubisoft back in 2014, I believe. It's an indie type of game, so I enjoy it. It's a good game. Is it gonna be as long as my previous Let's Play? No, nowhere near close. We should be able to beat this pretty quickly if everything goes to plan. What's this thing? I can't go up there yet, so bye. Yeah, we don't have the flying ability yet, guys, but we do get it soon enough. Can we go back? Oh, hello? Ooh, okay. Mount of equipment, yeah. So what's that does? So add lightning to melee attack. Lightning is strong on water, so yeah, well, not much I can really do at the moment. But I do have advantages. We are going to be using them. Skills. Oh shit, I haven't even updated my skills. Let's upgrade. Okay, we'll do you first. Cost. Cost. Once they start costing more than one skill. Oh wait, they're all costing one. They all cost one. I thought they all okay. I thought they were going to cost like 2, 3 and all that stuff later in the game, but apparently no, it's not how it works. Alright, once we get to an X, I think once we get to one of these ones, the ones with the X's on them, that's when we stop. So this one, we'll keep doing it until we get to that one. So the next one will be that one, and then we stop. And then we'll work on this one till we get to there, and then we stop. Same thing with you, we stop there. So anything with the stars on top of it. Okay, cool guys, so we got that sorted out. Nice try, dude. I know you jump at me, so... Alright, the first things first, let's get rid of the one that will be a pain in the ass. Oh, also, guys, if you do this, this will slow them attacks down too. See? That slows him down, and now I can just... Eight. Come on. Come on, can we do it? Yeah, lightning's doing damage. Alright, let's do it again. See if we plan it out. Right? He won't be able to attack. And he's defeated. See, the way I did that was usually strategy. Something I don't usually use. That was good. That was good planning on our part. Oh, right. We're in the next area, guys. I've got to go toilet. Yeah, so that's a boss battle here, guys. So I'm going to go run to the toilet while we do this. Because I'll need to go to the toilet because this is a boss battle, not a normal battle. We'll be back in a few minutes, guys. Look. Okay, back. Sorry about that. I had to go to the toilet. Yeah. The good thing is, guys, I don't get stressed now when I start streaming, so the body doesn't react as badly. Well, hopefully I don't get the panic attacks like I did last night, but yeah, we're already up half an hour, so I'm doing pretty well. Oh, yeah. Let's go. This place looks very suspicious. What is that? Oh, boy, here we go. Here at last. Okay, she's been... Okay, that's broken. How do I change it? Ah, there we go. Now I've got the purple one, which I don't even know what that is, to be honest. We'll move that one. We'll leave that one next. Range right there. Alright, just a blue one, and I don't think there was a purple one. I think it was just there to throw you out. There we go. Who dares challenge the Queen of the Night? Oh boy, here we go. Okay, this is badge. Alright, let's try using magic. I don't know if it's going to work on them. Vulnerable to light, of course it is. Ow, that's going to hurt. Let's put a shield on, because we know we can't do it. We'll slow this one down. We can use the strong one. Oh god, he's weak. Okay, he's dying. Uh-huh. Oh no, we've got two of them. They're going to interrupt me for sure. And we've got no magic. Beautiful. Good. We got 7 out of it. All right. We use that on you. We should be able to use it. And he's defeated. Now we've only got one to deal with, which is much easier to deal with. Main problem is we've got no magic, so I'll have to use swords. Yep. Okay, it's going to take a few hits. It's going to take a few hits to beat this guy. We're out of magic, so... Come on. Uh-oh. Got right. Oh, boy. Get real. We made it. Oh, well, it didn't matter. It missed me. I really wish I had more magic. Okay, it's regenerating. Damn it. I was hoping it would generate while I'm waiting. Yeah, so this makes it a little bit easier. And he's dead. Okay, we beat him. We beat him. He should have lost, but hey. We did alright. That's the first boss, guys. Lady, this... Sure, I appreciate. Take my hand. So now we'll get the...
The sun shone upon a land of sequined valleys and peaks of white. And at night ruined castles glowed with alabaster light. From the stars in the crescent moon, a queen of light ruled this rambling place. Each night she walked the palace alone, her luminosity dawn's own face. Until one night there was no trace. The queen had vanished, and with her the light. Dark resided in its place. The usurper, Umbra, hid from sight. She sent her daughters in her stead. The sun, the stars, and the crescent moon. They pilfered from the sky, extinguished them with the monsoon. Then Umbra's dark creatures conquered the land. Our lives soon snuffed out by a wave of her hand.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, that's why there's so many enemies. But... As down my spit, you felt us. Oh, so there is a way back, but not an easy one. That's weird. Why they say it's star, sun, and moon. The moon's technically at night, so... Oh god, there's no point crying. You're not going to get nowhere. Oh, what's that above me? Alright, achievement. Now we can do stuff. You are a child of light. Alright, let's get ready to go.
And so Aurora wandered, the twilight forest far from home, starlight only to guide her, except for a firefly alone. Anxious for the comforts, a family who could not trace her, searching for the
What was a map?
and somewhere in the night, perched upon a throne in the dark, waited Umbra the usurper to snuff out Aurora's spark.
Alright, let's do this. We should be able to move around now. Much more freely. Go hide under here. Okay, something. This. And of course she pushes me somewhere I don't want to go, into the west. Yeah, basically go back the same way we came. Yeah, no thanks, dude. Don't bother sending me messages or we'll have to mute you. No, we're going back because we were past something because you decided to go flying where I don't want you to go yet. Okay, yep. Don't really need that, but whatever. Hello, what's this? Confessions! Oh wait, if I go under confessions, should tell me what number. I'm assuming that's 1, so I imagine that's 2, 3, 4. I'm hoping that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't even know how it goes. It'd be nice if I had a number system there. Alright, now we can go to another one. Okay, now the fun part. I've got to look around. This is going to be the most difficult part of the game. Oh no, we've got a new dude here. So this little guy's a little jester. There's a lot of like dialogue, but I really don't care for it. Everyone knows I don't really give a shit about reading it too much. I read it fast in my head. I read it faster in my head than I do in my mouth, so... Alright. Alright, let's look around. Like... Oh wait, if I remember correctly, there should be something in here we can do. Alright, I've got some emeralds, all good. Right. Go look into that. Alright, out we go. We don't need to be in here. That was the only thing here I had to look for. That's where we just were. I'm looking for things to do and things to kill. Hardly anything around here. Right on you. What is that though? Alright, we've got 2 of us versus 3 of them. Great. I don't know what. Okay. Let me go for him. Definitely could use some stronger magic. Normal Starlight should be fine against you. That one's done. I'm going to slow him down. Alright, now I'm going to use Starlight on you. That should be fine. He's dead. Okay, good. And the other one's basically gone with it. Once I get stronger, you won't need to do it as much. Oh, look at it. He's level 8 already, so... Okay, yep. Alright, just looking around, guys. There's always stuff to do in this game. What is that? Oh, okay. How do I acquire it? Obviously, my main character is going to be the one who's going to get to these things, so... Uh-huh. Okay, I got some skills. Oh, you've got some skills. I think we've got no skills. All right. Why is her skills all over? Okay. That one. Now I'll go to another one down here. Oh, God. Just one level. Okay. And you got a few. Like 1, 2. All right, there we go. Got some stuff done for you. Let's continue. Now, I do know there's stuff here, guys. There's a lot of stuff. Some stuff we're going to miss, so... I don't know if I'll do that in this video or in this stream, this series, or if I'll do it on the other one. The one where I do when I screw up, I come back to. But at least I want to get this world out of the way. So maybe what we'll do is we'll do it as we stream. Start putting things up on that channel. I mean, I can only do 15 minutes, but we can separate them based on a few videos. Curious about what's happening with my friend in a court case. I mean, it's nothing too. She's not going to get locked up or anything like that. It's not that serious. But she does. All right, let's go. I really wish they had a map on this game. That would be the one thing in this game that would have really made it easier. So yeah, a lot of this is just going to be me flying around, looking for things to do, basically to explore. That's it. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, of course. I'm just saying. All right, we found this area. Nothing in here at all. Which way? Oh, it came from that direction, I think. Yikes! Nope. Damn it! It got right in front of me. Ambush. Great. Okay. I don't know how this is gonna work. We're gonna get hurt here. Well, there's no point. Okay, I'm gonna slow his attack down because he's got the speed one up. Yeah, definitely can't use the same elements. Yeah, actually, lightning would probably be better on him, wouldn't it? What am I doing? And I can use fire on the little arachnid. What am I doing? I'm not thinking logically. He's dead now. I can use you and fire it. Yeah, there we go. Definitely stronger against him. Dodge? How do you dodge? Alright, we've got problems now. Come on. Oh. Now it's about halfway, so we should be able to get there before he does. And we got him. They're getting stronger. Good. It makes my life much easier. Alright. Where are we up to? We already got the star there. We've got to go this way, I guess. Which one's got the closest star? Oh, I'll go this way. Okay. I'll go that way instead. And you? Which way we're going with you? Already got you done. We've got you done. Oh shit, they're all done already. Alright. Which one's got the next closest one? You're about 3. You're about 4. Okay, this one. Okay, this one. Now we'll go back. Go to you. See what we can do with you. Yeah, so we can probably make, we'd say, a red and a blue. Alright, what's that one do? Nothing. Okay. So what would that give me? Ooh, okay. Strong on dark enemies. Good, good. Okay, increases the dodging percent for... Alright, so that does add a little bit, but not much. And you. Okay, so I do have a few advantages. I don't really care about him too much. Lightning is strong on water, so I'm guessing that might be my best bet then. Earth damage, okay, yeah, probably this area, and there we go, at least for now. I want to get fire one, but we don't have the fire one yet. We'll go this way just in case. Now, do I know where I'm going? The answer is no. I'm pretty sure I've been here before. Yep, been here before. This is one of those games where you got to be adventuring for a long time. Yeah, so I went that way. That takes me that way. Okay, we don't care about going up there. We've already been up there. Okay, let's go down here. Let's wander around this world. Done you already? Okay. Okay, I get it. Goes. That's weird how that works. Okay. Let's go for him. Alright, I'm gonna attack the... You attack the spiders. They're not that strong, so I don't really need to worry too much about them hurting us. But I will slow him down, because he's got that bit... He's fast. Fire lightning probably do more damage than him, but oh well. Ow. Oh god. Earth resistance. I'm glad that that's resistance. Imagine what it was if it wasn't. Let's grab one of these. We get back to it. Not really hurting him that much, is it? But that is. Actually, I'll let him go so he can use this magic, so we can just recharge a little bit. We don't want to use it the whole time. Ah, there we go. He's strong. He's not as strong. Alright, now, how's our HP? Good. HPs are good. And now I've got her to do it. Alright. Not as strong as him, but he is higher level, so what do you expect? You need something. Yeah, I don't need to go that way, guys. I've been there. Where it came from just before. No, not here. Nope. Slowly making our way back. Hey guys, if you're just joining us, we're just playing Child of Light. At the moment, I'm just looking around. Ooh. A lot of it's going to be me looking around, so... And finding things in chests. That's a lot of the game. There's a bit of enemies in here too, but mostly looking around. Up we go. Mechanically different game than a lot of other games, but hey, it's fun nevertheless. I've already been up on here for like an hour. Yeah, an hour. Oh, hello. That's useful. Give me something good. I said something good. That's not really good. I've got heaps of them. Oh, it's foliage. Ooh, hello. I like to fight these guys to get them out the way if I can. Doesn't matter which one I fight. They're both... Yeah. I'll go for him. Light does not really help. We don't have that elemental stuff that would be really good against these guys. Fire would be the ideal. But I don't have fire with me at the moment. But hopefully soon enough we do. They're not really hurting me that much now, so I don't even care about... Oh, there we go. He's dead. Alright. Based on that, I say the spiders are the harder ones to deal with. And I want to... And he's done. So yeah, they're getting too easy now. He's leveled up. Now we'll talk another kill. Let's go and collect this first. Did we just come from that direction? I gotta remember. Yeah, it did. Yeah, nice try, dude. He's trying to come from behind. Holy shit, there's a new enemy. I'm gonna get rid of the spider first, I think. Destroy the spider quickly and we should be right. Not really helping us, is it? I'm gonna try to slow him down so we can beat him. I'm glad it wasn't me. Oh, there's no point having him slow down. Oh, how dare you! Lowest. Okay, I don't know how strong these guys are, so we've gotta go for... Based on that, I say not that strong. Alright, we're getting there, we're getting there. Oh, never mind, he's done. Oh, look at that! He leveled up too. Great! Oh, we've got another emerald. Uh-huh. Wait, let's take these off. How do we remove this? Remove that. Keep the top one. Craft now. We should be able to make stronger variants of this. There we go. Oh, I do have fire here. God damn it. Okay, can I use you at all? No. Oopsie. Well, you should be using that. I don't know why I did not use it before. You could probably use that. Increase. I don't really care about that. Let's go to the other dude. You can use it. Now the question is, what's this one going to do? Increase earth distance. That's probably better for her because she's not that strong. I'll put the last one. I think resistance probably a bit more robust. Alright, there we go. Slowly get up there, guys. What's next for her? Going this way, aren't we? Great, she's got an increased strength, so that's going to make my life a little bit easier. You, on the other hand, alright. I'm glad it worked. Control the power. Oh, getting sick of this battery. Gotta do something about it. Oh, guys. Alright. Please, yeah, I know. It falls out all the time, guys. The controller's really annoying. Alright, let's do this. Yeah, so I get this. Ooh, sapphire. Actually, this one's different. This one's a different type of blue. What does it do? Okay, so I've got that. What would that do for me? Yeah, okay, that's not bad. I mean, what would it do for you? Increase water resistance. Okay, we'll give him that. At least for now. I mean, we get further and further, we'll get better and better. Want to make sure there's nothing in here that we're missing. I knew it. The game's got this terrible tendency of putting things in weird spots. So I like to make sure that we're not missing anything. Alright, looks like we're good here. Oh, that's where we just were. No, this. Okay, I did not know that was a chest. I don't know where we are exactly. I think we're about halfway through the area, guys. Alright. Alright, I think we're near... Yeah. Oh, I landed right into her face. Alright, I can attack. Yeah, vulnerable to light. Oh, I knew she'll do that. Defeated. Earth resistance. Which one? Alright, there we go. Now we're getting some good attacks in. And now it's your turn, pal. We know what you're doing, guys. You can easily stop him from attacking. Why he can't get us? We will not let him do it. Okay, I thought it might have been something up there. That's why I went up there. That'll be for her, because I'm giving it to her, because that's what she's my main character, guys. Always going to give her the best. What do you think on that, silly? Okay, we're getting through the stronger enemies, though. I mean, you... Oh boy, that's strong. Damn you, you dodged, you son of a bitch. Okay, we've got 3 enemies who could really do harm to us. I'm going to try. I'm pushing my luck here. Good. He's not going to be too much of a threat to us. One said. Okay. Alright, I don't really want to hit him. I'm going to go for him, because he's the one I really want to hit. And he's dead. Okay, now it's just you and I. There's no point letting him do that. Ow. That really pissed me off. Alright. Lucky for us, we've got heaps of HP, so... Oh, he's dead. I actually leveled up to level 9. Now we're cooking. Alright, just getting a bit stronger. That ability's not going to help us out too much at the moment, but it will help out. So the good thing about this game is there's not really a lot of areas to explore. Oh, you're thinking you're going to play that game, huh? Guys, we are going to win this. Which one should we'll go for these guys because they're dead weak. They'll die on 1 hit every time. None of them will survive. Yeah, they're no good to me. Oh, damn, he actually attacked me before. Okay, he was fast. Alright, he's dead. Damn it. Oh, another ruby. Oh, boy. Okay, that means we can upgrade our ruby stuff. Great. We'll exit that out. We'll go into here. We can create 1, 2, 3. Make a new ruby. Go back. Let's see what damage it can actually do. Okay, there we go. 8%. 8% is pretty good, guys. Is this where we were? Yeah, we were just here a second ago. Okay, we better heal up a bit. We're a bit bruised. Alright. Okay. Ooh, look at that. More defense for me. I'm giving it to her anyway. She's gonna be my main character, so. Okay, let's keep going. Right into him. I don't know. Yeah, that's gonna hurt him, but the fire's gonna do more damage. Fire done a ton of damage. Oh my god, we are powerful once again. Man. I probably won't make that nut. Slow me down, but that's all it's gonna do. Not gonna beat me. Yes, guys, I'm aware there's a treasure chest outside. And one inside. Oh, we got 2! Shit. Okay, where we're going, we're gonna begin it. Alright. Yep, we'll go down there. Oh, wait, we're just down here before. That's where we got our thingo. Locked. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, from behind. I think we need a start area. Light doesn't really do much, but I can definitely use fire on them. Alright, he's dead. Your turn, pal. And he's done. Hello, what's going on, dude? Oh, what's going on? So, hello. Ah, okay. So someone's been misbehaving on Discord. Oh, yeah, self-promoting is definitely no. Let me have a look. Let me check chat. Oh yeah, I get your point. Yep, I just saw what you mean. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. They timed him out. That's fine. Hmm. All right, cool. That's fine, dude. Yeah. Well, at least you tell me, so I'm happy with that. All right, who's this weird king spawn? I'm looking at him. He's spamming too. Everyone else is fine, but yeah. Oh, it was like 10 days ago. When was he on last? When was he last? Oh, 15th. Okay, never mind. I don't count in. Dude, don't spam me stuff. Alright, cool. That's fine. Alright, cool. Thanks, program, for telling me that. That's fine. Yeah, no promoting. I don't know why people do that. There's obviously nothing wrong with playing with other people, but if you're promoting every 5 seconds, yeah, that's an issue. Alright, I hate people that do that. Also, make sure you tell him that he can't be doing that as well. So he's aware of it. Alright, he's done. Oh, that reminds me, I gotta check something. Alright, let's get going. Oh, we just came back from this team way, didn't we? Alright, guys. We're enjoying ourselves. I'm a bit lost here, but we're okay. Well, I can't go that way. What's down here? Anything down here? Definitely this have not been here yet. Oh, okay. Interesting. Go put a spider first. Spider's weak against. Oh wait, he's got lights. I keep forgetting I haven't changed his spell. Never mind. Yeah, one water light, and we should be able to beat him. And done. Okay, good. Level 10. We're catching up pretty quickly. Achieve level 10 with barrier. Good. Okay, that's that one done. Now, what's the next one we should be doing? Right, this way. Yep. Yep, we can this way. Alright. Got this for her. She can use that as well, because that's all. Making her really powerful. Now I'll go to this one over here. Alright. I'm doing pretty good, guys. Alright. Done. Alright, these guys are getting easier. I don't even need to use my stuff no more because they're not that. I mean, they still hurt, but not that bad. How dare you dodge? That'll be the one I want to avoid. Hey, he's done. One more and it should be enough. God damn it. That was good, didn't hit me. Ooh, almost the next level. Alright. Not very hard at the moment. Oh wait, I think we're back at the start of the area where we started from. Good. No, not yet. Not quite. But close enough to it. Looking around for stuff to collect. Oh, hello. Spider. Alright, so you attack him and I'll attack the spider. Light's strong against him or her. I think it's a her because it's got long hair, so. I guess the spider will be the best one of. Alright, probably should have went for him. But oh well. They can easily beat these guys, they're not that hard. I'm enjoying myself too much today, I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, I'm just having fun. And I don't really need to get into it. But yeah, if you're gonna, yeah. I definitely got to set up the rules on my Discord, guys. I haven't done that for a few days. I might go on and fix it up today. So people are aware of the rules, because, you know, I don't want people going in there doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. So yeah, give me a second, guys. I've got to get up for a second. Oh. Oh. Alright, just give me a few minutes, guys. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. I just need to move around a little bit. If I sit down too long, guys, I get stiff. Man, it's already almost midday. Yeah, so I gotta go on my finger today, guys, and figure out what's going on. I'm gonna have a look on Discord for a second, guys, just to make sure everything's okay. But yeah, it looks like everything's alright now. But it shouldn't be. I gotta go on rules and shit. Yeah, so. Now, the question is, why is people able to. I'm supposed to have people adding on that one. I don't know. Oh, that's right. Open. Wait, let me check. Permissions. Go to permissions. I want people to do things, but they should be able to view it, but they shouldn't be able to add anything to it. Oh, for God's sakes. Yeah, okay, that's why. I'm not supposed to be adding to it. Anyway, guys, let's get back to the game. It looks like it's sorted ourselves out. Let's go back and enjoy ourselves. Yeah, guys, I was going to do Minecraft today, but I think I might just take a day off. I'll do the member realm tomorrow. So how it's going to work is with this channel and my other channel, it's not going to be based on day. I'm going to do it based on what the video is. So, because I'm missing today's one, I'll do it tomorrow, but I'll be doing what is allocated. So instead of saying Monday's this, Tuesday's this, Wednesday's this, I'll do it more like I'll set them up based on numbers. So, for example, today was supposed to be my member one on the member stream. Because I'm not doing it today, I'll do it tomorrow and just push everything else a day, you know, like that. So I don't ever miss one. So if I do miss a day or two, I can just resume. Alright, let's get back to it. Which one am I going to fight? I'm going to fight the spiders. Spiders are more worth it. I should be fighting a lot of these guys. Oh boy. Okay, these guys are going to be a problem. They're all going to be an issue. But you look like a bigger issue. Yep. Damn. Brought me out. Alright, he's getting hurt. I didn't get hurt that much. Attack the spiders. The spiders are more dangerous. Spiders are just... There's just a lot more enemies. You get the numbers down, you can focus on one. That's what it is, guys. You focus on the one enemy. Alright, now it's just you. Oh, good, I got him. And he said, okay. Good. Alright, we've got to go through this. We'll get a lot more spells going. Ooh. Damn it. Alright, we'll go this way. Alright, let's get going now. Let's go before we get too far into it. Let's unload. Let's unload everything from the two characters and see what we've got to work with. Alright, so we've got 3 of them, so we can put them together. Alright. Go. Alrighty. I don't know what that does, but okay. So what would that one do? Increase physical damage. 20 HP. Okay, that's not really useful. Oh, it does exactly it's the same thing. Okay, that's not really useful for this purpose. Okay, so we're gonna use the fire dude. That one, and we'll use the other fire for you. And the second one can be you earth resistant. Yep. And then oopsie, the other person can have okay, physical damage, that's actually good. Okay. Alright, so at least we've got everything sorted out. Definitely gonna be useful. Yep, okay, let's go. I am looking around, guys. Don't worry. Ooh, hiding spot. Okay. Destroy them all. Yeah, there we go. What you done? Because you're probably going to be the fastest one to do. 24. Okay. Definitely got to get stronger, guys. We'll get stronger as the game goes. And he's done. Who's next? Who's the faster one? I guess you. Gonna hurt. Oh yeah, it's gonna hurt him. No point. We'll use attack. I can use defend. Probably best bet. Yep, defend was my best bet. Oh, right. Now we can use attack. And he's dead now. So it's just you. Get some block. There's nothing you can do about it now. Fire's not really going to do a ton of damage to him. But yeah, if you hit him enough times, it's going to hurt. Alright, do I get magic potion? I really need magic potion, guys. It's really not worth it. Oh shit, I didn't need to see that there. Oh, emeralds. Oh, rough emeralds. Okay, what do we get? Do we have any emeralds in here? Yes, we... Oh, wait. Ah, okay, yep. Just small emeralds. No, well, I guess they could be useful. More emeralds, better than no emeralds, I guess. At least I got something to work with. That was, well, it just was, wasn't it? Yeah, it was just here. Okay, cool, let's move on. Alright, let's get going. Let's get going. It's down this way. Oh. This is the way I went before. Okay, we'll go up this way then. Wait for him to turn around so I can attack him. Alright, surprise attack. Good. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh, damn. I'm gonna get hurt. Yep, I know it. Oh, good. Yeah, they're not that hard to beat no more. They're just pushovers. And dead. Oh, good. She's a level, next level. Alright, what level is she up to now? We're going this way, aren't we? Yep. Doing good. This where we were just a second ago. Let's go this way. Hello. Don't hide things like that. That's rude. Oh my god, there's a second one there too. A lot of hiding ones in this area. It's best because it's dark in here. That's probably what it is. Oh god. Okay, let's get rid of the useless ones first. They don't stand a chance against us. What we should focus on is the spider. Alright, defeated. Nearly level 14. Good. That's where we were, yeah. Just a minute ago. Go up this way. That's where we just came from. Ah, that's where we started from. Fantastic. As I said, it's not a ton of enemies in this game. It's pretty straightforward. Alright, there's no chance. Okay. No point doing that. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna take my chance. Not gonna help that. Oh, good. Going strength is gonna be useful. For us, not for him. Alright, let's get going. And he's done. Ah, good. He's leveled up too. He's getting stronger as well. Good. Oh, hello. I didn't even know there was one there. Why always gotta keep testing it? Oh. Oh, this is where we started from. The old tear. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, they're not that hard to avoid. They always go for the weaker enemies, I notice. Yeah, even slowing me down is not going to help you too much. Oh, hello. Alright, so how are we going with this stuff? Alright, let's put that out. Craft a new one. Make a new one. And now we can go back and give him that one. Okay, it's definitely helping. It's helping us out bit by bit. It's not helping too much, but our controller really sucks, guys. Keeps falling out. The battery keeps falling out. Ah. Hope you guys enjoying yourselves on a good day. I mean, it's a slow game, but it is what it is. Oh man, I am so stiff. I'm glad I'm taking a day off. Yeah, I probably will. I'll take a day off Minecraft and I'll probably just play on this game for a while more and then just do my Let's Plays, and that's really all I'm gonna do. The things I want to start doing on my other channels. Start putting something out for them. I have not worked on for days because I've been trying to reorganize them. And I have not been doing a good job of that. So yeah, that's what's going on. That's why I've been a bit slackish. Hey! Excuse me. To be honest, I don't even know why I went this way. I don't need anything. Oh crap, I ran right into his face. Alright, these ones are a bit more. He's nearly dead. Alright, And he's down. Alright, just take a risk. We'll take a risk, guys. Doesn't matter which one he hits. Ah, she took a counter. That was good. And he's done. Your next pal. Oh, we're actually starting to get hit now. We better be... I think it's a while we had a red one. Red one's not really useful to us though, I don't think. Whoopsie, would red have any benefit? No. No. You know what? Yes, I think it's probably a better usefulness. Let's get going. Right, can't go that way. Guys, I hope you guys find it a good day. Oh man, I'm hungry. I feel like I had like acid reflux, like constipation medicine, but I haven't. Very odd, like starting to do that. Oh no, I'm gonna fight you. Little girl, you not pass this way. I will eat you up this day. Why did you force me into it? Okay, first. We're already weak, so we're gonna have problems here. Secondly, we destroyed these two imbeciles. They're not hard to beat, by the way. Why would you automatically go for him? I'm going to slow him down because he's the deadliest version. Good. He's done. Ow. 20? Give me a break. That's painful. I just realised something. I went for the wrong person. God damn it. Give me a second. Let me see if I can heal up. Yeah, I heal up a little bit, but not much. Alright, let's focus on attacking him directly. Attack him. I don't know why we attack. Oh god, 36 is a lot of damage. Now this time be smart, not be stupid like I've been doing. Is he done? No. He will be now. Right, now we can bloody destroy this guy. Yeah. Oh wait, I can heal an ally? I did not know that. She needs all the healing she can get. That should be enough. Wish I know how much it has. Let's keep attacking him directly. Yep. Oh, he's getting weak. Doesn't stand a chance then. He is hurting us, but yeah, 21 to him is nothing. Come on. He's done. We beat one of the bosses. Well, it was fun. I thought we were going to die. I've already finished this area up, guys. I don't know if there's how much more stuff. There's probably stuff here I just missed. That's why I want to do this on my other channel. I want to do what's left of it. So we'll have to come back through the battles. But because we've already done the big boss... Oh, here we go. So that's 5. So that'll be 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that'll be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright, that'll make it easier to remember. Good. What's the next? Magic increase. Good. She needs it. What about him? Well, that one's way off, so it's not going to happen. Let's see. That's 4. And that's 4. That's a good one, actually. That's a stronger attack. So, yeah, definitely that one. Actually, what about her? What's her next attack? Don't look like it's for a while. Yeah. Oh, wait, you said it there. Alright, it's counter attack at low light. Starlight. There's another starlight. Where's her other attack? Alright, there it is. That's probably... Alright, let's get out of here. This area's done, guys. We don't have anything else to do, as far as I know. We're in the next area now. There is map. Okay, so the game will tell me what we've done. So we've done most of it. Yeah, so the worst thing about this game is it doesn't tell you which one you've done per area. It just tells you which one you've done in this area. So we go back here, we'll have to redo everything, all the bosses and shit. So this game does have a lot of things to do. So let's get started into this one. Yes, I want to see what's over there. Oh, so it's here. Okay, yep. And then we've got this one, which is the altar. Altar, sorry, not altar. I don't know where I got altar from. Oh, right. So there was another area I was going into. Yep. So all the boss, the enemies will be back too. So this is the hard part of collecting in this game. So it doesn't tell you exactly where everything is. The only way you're going to collect it is you go every single area or you look on YouTube, which is what I will probably do. I'll recommend doing on YouTube, if anything, guys. YouTube will make it much easier. Trust me. But hey. So yeah, so what I'm going to do on my other channel, I'm going to do it bit by bit for you guys, because I don't know. And I also will make a link to the channel. So when I'm done here, when I'm done with creating the video, I'll probably put the link up or to the playlist itself. You'll know which one it is because I'll make it, I'll name it. Come on. You have no choice. I can't get around him. Ah, crap. Ambushed. It's even worse. These guys are much higher level, so they're going to do more damage. Yeah, I'm just trying to let them hit us so we can just... Okay, vulnerable to fire. Great, they're strong. 11. Oh god, they are strong. Why do I keep doing that? I think because I'm used to the game, like... Oh, right, he's dead, finally. Oh boy, we're going straight for him, huh? Oh shit, is he really dead? No, I don't think so. And he's gone. No, yep. Alright, so they are harder than beating, I remember, but we are doing it. So it takes 3 shots, I believe, and that's it. Oh boy. Yeah. Alright, he leveled up. Good, there's a copper down there. I wonder... Let's go this way. No, I don't want to go that way. So yeah, you can heal yourself up this way too, guys. Probably the faster way of doing it. Now we go. Alright, so saying open, yep. I'm exploring, of course. But yeah, as I said, guys, when we... I might get this area done, and then we'll finish it up here. Up there, because it'll probably take another hour or two, maybe even longer. So we're entering the 2-hour mark, guys, so it's really good. I'm very proud of myself. We'll go downwards a little bit, see what's over here. Yeah, no, okay, we've done that already. Let's go this way. Alright, we'll go up. I think that's where we just were. Go this way a little bit. Ow, I got sparked. That's where we were just a second ago. I wish this had a map. I mean, it's not... No, never. I'm not going to fight you, okay? Oh, no, I have no choice. Oh, wait, I think I can paralyze them. And I can snake past them. And I can jump into them. I forgot all about that. Alright, I'll get rid of the weak one first. He's easy ass to deal with. He's done now, it's just a few spiders. Poison. Oh boy, hurt him a bit. I hope... Good, aim at him. Damn, he's really interrupted, isn't he? Slowing down dramatically. Oh well, got the wrong one, I guess. Alright, oh, yeah, we should be alright. Should be able to pound him to the ground. Alright, we've got, oh, leveled up. Sweet! Oh, wait. This place is full of weird areas. This is very different to the other area I was in. Yeah. Okay, so next one is this one. For that one. Alright, we'll keep going, guys. We'll get there. Alright, sure. Oh boy, I felt that. Alright, so the next one should be probably this one, I guess. Yeah, so Starlight will be a good one to get. And the next one probably that one. Or that one. One or two. Yeah. Defense upgrade. Great. He's going to get stronger. We're all going to get stronger, guys, as we slowly level up. Oh my goodness. Battery falls out all the friggin' time. I wish it wouldn't. Alright. I don't want to go. Well, I'll go for you. You're probably weaker than they are. Oh God, one hit. I knew it'll be weak, but I didn't think it'll be that weak. 42. Okay, we did get an increase. All right, 42. Me too. Okay, now we're cooking. Just that little bit of an upgrade, guys. Just giving us so much. We should be able to. He should be able to get there before him. Yep. Now we're doing damage, guys. Sorry, guys. Got itchy nose. My nose is freaking bad today. There's a spider over there. I want to get that spider. I don't know why. I got a craving for spiders. Alright, which way should we go? It's just downwards, bud. Anything down here at all? There's an outside area. That's about it. Yeah, okay. Emerald, go up, 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 up. Ow, not that far. Okay, it's definitely stuff upwards and stuff downwards. God damn it. If I remember correctly, we're supposed to go up in this area, so we won't go there. Alright, the usual stuff, guys. It takes 2 hits now, so I can deal with that easily. 1, 2, dead. I don't even... I mean, I'll technically level up if I really want to. I mean... heal up, sorry. I'll level up. Heal. Yeah, they're just weak now. Remember, they took a few shots. Now they're taking, what, 2 shots. Now I'm going to go down. We're going to heal myself up first. Do that. I got to... I'm enjoying myself today, guys. We are enjoying ourselves. I'll probably put some extra things on the description, like the chapters and all that, once I'm actually, you know, far enough in the game. You know, once we're finished with the game, so we know where everything is, roughly. These guys are going to get their asses kicked. I'm going to go straight for the spider. Spider's just the weakest one there. The strongest one there, so... And he's not strong enough that he's hard. He's strong enough to get rid of him. The other two are not strong at all. Not to mention they generally do that a lot of the time. That would be good if they were strong or they knew how to survive. Oh shit, they do take 2 hits. Okay. Oh good, they aimed at him. Alright, he's dead. Now I've just got you. One more. I reckon if we got like 45, maybe 1 shot. Maybe. We are leveling up fast though. As I said, I don't know which way we're going, guys. I don't know which way we're supposed to go. I don't know. Pretty sure we're supposed to go... Oh, hello. Number 8. Okay, number 8. So that would be... Oopsie, wrong button. Yep, so that'll be number 8 there. Yeah. So it is in order. Alright, cool. Strength increase, of course. Ow. Wrong. I wonder, is that shrine? Well, I think it is. Yes, it is. Okay, maybe we'll turn around. I see a village with people. Okay, why do these crows got hair? Look at them. Some got hats on them. Something's fishy going on here. Alright, we'll come back to this area. I do not need to do it yet. So if that's the right way, then what's this way? This way must be the wrong way. I like going the wrong way. Everyone knows that. Alright, we're going up the tree then. I thought that was the right way. Okay, cool. Fine, let's go up the tree. Damn it! I got a bit tangled. Okay, just two. I'm not three of them. Oh, great. Okay, and now we're going to attack first. I was afraid that was going to happen. Alright, now that we've done that, we can attack properly. Yep. And now it's your turn. Defeated. I want to get them before... Not you. Alright, fire for you, and I'm going to attack you directly myself. Now, I'm going to slow you down. Oh boy, I can't slow you down. I'm not going to slow you down that fast. But I can slow you down, though. How? I mean, I got the first attack. I don't know why I keep doing that. Good. She leveled up. Yeah, we're leveling up pretty quickly. Okay, we've got that. Another one of those ones. Can we... Take you out. How do we move? Oh shit! Interesting. That's one way of doing that. But I don't want to do it like that. Alright, we're getting there. Alright, you know what I could do? We could have definitely combined three of these, but they're not gonna... We need another fourth one. That give me four. Okay, whatever. No difference. Okay, cool. Let's go. Oh. How many are you? Yeah, I want to get engage him in a way. Oh, 46. Oh, okay, levels do matter. Yep, 80. Whoa, that's a lot of damage. Where's she got so strong for? I want him to attack so we don't... Yeah. He's done, and now... And he's done. Yeah, you get the hint, guys. It's pretty easy now once you get through it. There's not a lot of clips for this game, by the way, because it's so easy and stuff like that. Alright, looks like we'll go up further and further. I think there's a boss battle. Oh. think that's another area. Yep. I think that's a boss battle. Guys, do you think that's a boss? What do you think? Do you think that's an actual boss? I think it is. Alright, first things first, get rid of the weak ones, which are going to be these two idiots. I'm going to get rid of him. I'm going to try to slow him down a little bit, obviously. Alright, oh boy, they're all going to attack at once. I'm going to try it though. Damn! Oh good, we can... And he's done. We've got 2 to go. We can beat him easily once we get rid of the little guys. I don't want him. And he's dead. Okay, now it's just... Better if I let him attack, so I can let this thing heal up a little bit. Goodness gracious. Maybe I will slow it down. Okay, final ball of fire. Final ball of fire. Fire's gonna rip him to shreds, guys. Fire's just doing so much damage to him. I just wish we had a stronger fire attack. More red, of them. Alright, let's go over here and heal up. Bum, 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 bum. This guy, he does not stand a chance. I think he's dying, guys. I can see it in his pulse. The way he just looks. It looks like he's on his way out. He's done. We won. That was a pretty good boss battle too. That was a level up easily. Ooh, defense. Okay, I'm gonna give it to her now. She's got new skills. Inventory. Oh shit! I didn't know it was two. They got. She needs it more than he does. Okay, skills. Okay, she's got 2 skills, so we've got that one and this one. Okay, Starlight now, we can't do any more on that, because this is Starlight area. Now we've got to get to either you, or you. Considering you're miles away, I say... Oh, I mean, no. You. I think that one should be next, and then that one, and before I go back to that one soon enough, because we will need to... Okay, so it's still medium, but it's a bit more powerful. Either way, yeah. See which way we want to go. There we go. He's got more power now. He's going to hurt more. Okay, we got that done. But all that was just a little boss battle, so... I'm hoping the enemies don't spawn back. They shouldn't, because it's not we're not leaving the area technically. Don't see any enemies, so I guess not. Good. Oh, shit! How did I miss you? I have to be more careful with my eyes. Make sure I don't miss it. Yep, they didn't respawn. Good. So I didn't technically leave the area. Alright, we're back here. Let's get to where we're going to go. My stomach's telling me other things. Okay, so... I think that shine will always tell me when there's a new area, so I've got to remember that. Just looking around at the moment. What's going on in this town? Alright, There's a chest here. That's about it. I don't think these people are supposed to be crows. I think these are supposed to be people, not crows. Yeah. Alright, so something's obviously happened to these poor people and we've got to figure it out. Alright, okay, what do we do? We're gonna go this way. Okay, cool. I think this is another area, so this will reset it. Oh no, it's just the mob of the town. Okay. Um, guys, you shouldn't be drinking. I don't think their crows should be drunk. I didn't even know they know how to get drunk. Okay, there's a school. Apparently crows can be educated. Who knew? Why did you put me back that way? The locked door. Okay, yep. So I came in from that way, didn't I? No. Oh, this dude. Oh, we'll talk to him in a minute. I didn't know there was more to the area. I should have known a bit more. Why am I not surprised? Okay. Go back and talk to this dude. Alright. Okay, so that's what happened. Alright, so I think we found out what we've got to do. Hmm. I don't like this place. Looks cold, it looks damp, it looks weathery. Of course it's eerie, it'll be cold down here. Alright, we're in here, so what is, I reckon these are gonna be wet spiders, yeah. We'll have to, okay, I should be able to attack him. You, on the other hand, should be able to change. Alright, now he can use magic, so let's use... Lightning strike should be a good damaging thing to him. Ouch! That's gotta hurt. Oh boy, I'm in trouble. I'm going to use it on you. Now done. Alright, we've got to change our spells as well so we can use lightning. Fire's not going to work on us, on them. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Get that. Good. Alright, we're here. The question is, which way do we go? Where do we go? And how do we do it? Okay, best bet's just to get started, I guess. Probably need some. Okay, what kind of damage? Alright, so I'll attack him. While you use... Ah, of course. We're going to have to muck around with this ability. Okay. Alright, yep. Alright, we'll slow your attacks down. Yep, one more hit's probably enough for him. Really like hitting him, don't you? Lightning strike on you. Yep, he's done. Okay. And now it's just me and you. Oh, I don't know if it really needs to do anything for that one. Yeah, his physical attacks are jokes. He's magical. He's pretty powerful in the magic department, but nowhere else. Alright, finally, we've got some good magic. Okay, got fire magic, great. Party, let's go in. Now we've got 4 people. 3 people. Let's do it. So let's go into here. We'll take out the resto. So you, and you. Take the others out as well, because we could use this. Alright, now. That's red. Bang, that's the big one. That'll be for her. Okay, weak on water, obviously, yep. What's strong? Okay, lightning damage will be useful for him. Lightning, okay, great. Okay, increases water resistance by 3. That's going to help on both of us. And the last one is not really useful. Now, why am I not using the other dude? I don't care about the other dude. I really don't care shit about him. We're going to be using our main characters. I don't know how we'll level up, but yeah. Forgot that one knock. Okay, knock's already pretty quick. Oh, I'll go that way. I think that should be an easy one. Alright, I'll go that way now. Boom, boom, boom. I... Oh, God. Okay, so now we've got that sorted out, and I'm hoping we can do a bit more. Uh-huh. Got this way, no. This place. Oh, okay, so this is that door. All right. Huh, interesting. Oh, I don't know what the other thing is. That's interesting. I don't get it. Why is one of them missing? The sun's over there. There's one here. Oh, there it is. So it's up there the whole time. I didn't even see it up there. I was looking at the bottom. Okay, cool. I'm getting there. All right, we're in here. Let's go. Why am I not surprised to see one of the... Oh, boy. Of course. Right, guys. Now there's water enemies, fire enemies in here too. We're gonna have problems all over the place. All right. I'm changing your party. Oh. Oh, I'm using fire, so I guess you'll use lightning. That's gonna hurt him. What about the other one at the back? No, not really. God damn you, damn creatures. Well, resistant. That's nice. All right, let's get going. And he's done. Okay. Now just this dude. This dude's got to go too. All right, he's done. Oh, okay. So down there, if I can do this, I can go to the enemy and say, okay, we know what he is. So what can we do? We can go into settings, go into here. We can go, okay, we know he's fire, so we can look for water. So we can say, okay, this guy will be perfect for water. Go there, water, bam. Now, we can use this to, we can go here and can say, okay, this is fire resistant. Fire resistant. Now we know we're resistant to fire, but it depends if they've got other abilities in it too. Sometimes they do. Yeah, so for example, now we know we can destroy them. Him, at least. Water's going to do a lot of damage to him. And he's done. Now, your turn, pal. The problem with him, he's going to be resistant to it, I think. Yeah, it's not going to be very easy to beat. But we can beat him. I don't think he's affected by it at all. It's not hurting him, but it's not. He's not resistant to it either. Ow, got whacked on the head, that hurt. And he's done. Oh, almost there. 1,000 points. I mean, it's not bad. Hello, what's that give me? Magic. It'll definitely be useful for her. Make her more powerful. Alright, let's get going. I think this is where we're supposed to be. I don't want to be here yet. I think we're here way too early. So we'll come back to this area. I think this is where we're meant to go, and this is not where I want to go. I think. Which one, cat? Alright, you, lightning. We can use lightning on you, so we know that for a fact. Which one's you? Which one's lightning? I can't remember. Oh, why do I do that? Lightning damage, and now we can go to you. You use lightning damage too. Now I need to be resistant to lightning damage. Okay, we're not resistant to anything here. Well, that's not going to help us out. Oh, well, whatever. What do you want, shithead? Great, they're both the same creatures, so that's going to make my life a little bit easier. 50, yep. And they're dead. Beautiful. Perfect for us. I mean, one more, guys, and that's it. He's done. Oh my god. Battery keeps fucking falling out. I gotta get a new one. How long do we go? About 30 minutes at least. Good. What are you doing? Sorry, guys, I'm yelling at the cat. We're all leveling up. We're doing pretty good in this game, guys. They all level up, so even if you don't use them, they still get the level ups. You can see it in there. Like I said. There's gonna be a lot of stuff, guys, we can do in this game. There's a lot of stuff we can't do. Getting stabbed, hopefully something I don't want to do too often. We'll come back to that a bit later. You can see the exits here. Let's go this way. Oh shit, ran right into him. The only good thing is we can fight them. The hardest one there is going to be the bird. Other than that, we should be good. As I said, the hardest one's the bird because he's yeah, he's probably going to be resistant. You're always going to have that problem, but you got to work out which one's more important. Damn it. Oh. I don't think lightning does. Oh no, lightning does hurt him. Alright, I was wrong. Oh, he was almost next level, almost there. I see you there hiding in the shadows. Alright guys, give me a few minutes, I gotta go to the toilet. Area's not that hard. Once we get to the next area, we'll probably finish up. Yeah, probably will, because I still got my Let's Plays to do and all that. Oh, goodness gracious. Alright, we're gonna go toilet, guys. I have to go again, a second time in a row. Yeah, so it'll probably be on, I don't know, until the end of this area, so probably a little bit longer. I don't know how long that is exactly gonna be. I was gonna do Minecraft, but I got up a bit late, so I might just worry about that tomorrow. Yeah, I went to bed. It wasn't that I went to bed late by anyone, it was my own fault. She went straight to sleep as soon as I got off the phone. So yeah, we're back in a few minutes. Yeah, we'll go to the toilet. Okay, I'm back. That was fun. Alright, let's keep going. We should be near the end of this area, to be honest. I know this area directly, well, I mean, I should be near the end. Okay, where are we up to? I would love to get to here, but this will take a very long time to do, I think. Maybe we should do that one first. Alright, let's get going. Hey, see me guys, I'm gonna get hit all the time down there. Let my life regenerate and get back up to normal levels. Alright, basically we've been everywhere we need to be. Right. But now we can go back to that area, guys, and start doing the battles we need to do. But first, I'm doing this third. This guy's got to go. Price strike. Good. And he's done. I can heal him up. I can destroy him before he even gets a turn to hit. Yes, we get stronger too. It's going to make it worse. He's getting stronger too, guys. We're getting a lot more of this stuff too. Where are we up to? Where are we going? Okay, we got that one just now. I think the next one should be that one. Oh god, that's a good upgrade. Alright, let's get going. I don't know what it is about this game, guys. I enjoy it so much. So much fun. Alright, let's head back. This area, we've basically done everything we can in this area. There's only one place we've got to go to now, guys. I basically wiped out all the enemies in here. Basically, we've got to go back in here and deal with the moss in here. Once we defeat the boss, we'll move on. Totally forgot about you. Alright. Done you, done you, done you. Okay. Oh, that looks suspicious. Okay, though. You know what? I want to beat him. Don't know why. What do we need? What we need against him? Water, I guess. Okay. We should be crafting that, upgrading that. Bam, 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 bam. You want? Okay. Next. Dun. Yeah. Okay. Now we're cooking. We'll grab that one. Water. Water. We want to be protected against fire though, so increase fire resistance. Alright, she actually can upgrade her fire resistance a bit more. Great. Let's get rid of this guy. The first thing we should attack is him. Water is going to do a lot of damage to him. No, he's not dead. I thought he would have died for sure, boy. Ah, he's dead. Okay, now it's still turn power. Yeah, water's not going to hurt him too much. Or his defense is too high. It didn't say resistance, so... Okay, that was easy. Just making sure there's nothing we missed. I'm pretty sure the boss is going to be a water type. Let's make sure we get back to the electric grid and make sure we have the power to destroy. Oh my god, we got. Okay, we better do that too. All right, now that means we can increase our power dramatically. Yeah, now we can get this one done. Oh, it's going to be a big power up, especially for her because she needs it more than he does. All right. Do we have to build this save? No. I think it saves automatically. All right, let's do this, guys. We're ready to fight. Hmm. I think I've got the wrong spell here, guys. Nope. Oh no, lightning here. 90. Oh my god, that's powerful. Uh-huh. Obliterate him. Nope, doesn't have no effect. Okay. No point doing that. Let him do what he wants. And he's done. Alright. Doing pretty good there. What the boss was here? It must be further up. Oh. Oh, no, it can't be. My grandpa is his bird bee. You know what? A lot of people say that. I wish I never got up today. Hello, dude. I saw you down here just a second ago. Alright, that one's on. Fair enough. Let's go up. Now, if I'm correct, I think fire does a lot of damage to him. So let's change it to fire. Let's make sure. Who's got fire? No one. Good. Let's leave and put that away. I want to see what we've got to work with. Alright. See what I'm doing now, can't you guys? 1, 2, 3. Bam. And now she can use fire. I believe he only uses physical attacks, so him on the other hand, I don't know what we're going to do about you. Earth, I guess, will be alright. Let's do that. Alright, here we are. Getting there. Damn, I should have just teleported. Okay, we got... Oh, great. There's a bit of everything here. There's going to be a problem, though. One. Lightning. Fire. Okay, we've got lightning for one of them at least. At least until we get better characters, guys. Once we get more characters, we can alternate a bit better. So you've got water. So you've got lightning, so I can use you on the dude, and I got fire, so I can use that on him. Yep, hit him, perfect. All right. Okay, you can use that on you, and he's done. Lightning. Oh, right now. Damn, I could probably do that on the you. Oh, beautiful. Fire's not going to do shit on him. I hate it when they're multi-lead like this, but they've got a bit of everything. They make it really hard to beat him. I mean, theoretically, guys, I could easily just smack around with it. Alright, let's make sure that we're ready to go. Fire, yeah, fire's no good for us. Need electricity. If I take that out. Hmm. Take that out, increase and take that out. Take that out, take that out, take that out. Okay. You do more lightning damage because you're the main character. You can do the other secondary thing. You can be my fire dude for the time being. Now, I need to be resistant to water, so boom, boom. And that stuff can be, yep, useless stuff, so. Yep, okay, cool. Got a boss coming up, guys. That is why it's making all that noise. Here it is, the boss. I think it's a giant serpent. No, it's a statue. Yeah, serpent. Oh boy. Okay, so who do we got? We've got lightning, don't we? So I should be able to attack the water. Oh, how do you dodge? All right. Oh, we've got poisons in the face. Okay, should be able to slow down the water one. Ow. Got both of us. Of course, we're both getting beaten. We are losing a bit, but not that badly. I'm not sure how long it'll take before they die, though. For someone who's vulnerable to lightning, he's really taking a he's beating us. Yeah, we're getting our asses kicked here. Die already! I don't know why it's taking so long. Yay! It's done! Okay. 26, alright. I've got 2 to go. It's gonna take a bit longer, but at least there's only 2 of them now. While they're attacking us, I'm gonna heal up. We've got to heal ourselves up too. Gotta heal them up, guys. Health is more important in their attacks. Okay. Should be able to level a whole up. We should be at human level 2. Or at least some. Nope, no way on earth. Alright, let's go for it. Now, what can we do? Who should we go after? No, we don't want... Actually, yeah. Party. Maybe the lightning dude might be better. So we can use his watering attacks. Soon. Alright, there we go. That's a bit of damage. Can't do too much to them, guys, but they can definitely kill us. Not likely. I think we're okay. I think we both should attack it. Attack the same one, I guess. Soon. How much magic does he have? Only a little bit. Oh shit, he's attacking the wrong one. Oh, it's not going to help. Well, I did a little bit of damage, I'm not going to lie. Okay, I've got some damage. We could probably slow that down a little bit. We are doing a bit of damage, but not tons. Alright, do it properly, dummy. Alright, we are winning. We're doing good. Got your back. Alright, soon. Of course, you'll attack him directly. He will die, guys. We already attacked her. And he's out of here. It's just you and me now, dude. Which makes my life much easier. Damn, skin's itching. Alright, we're nearly done here. Paralyzed for a few shots. Okay, you can only do... Oh, damn, you're no good to me no more. Fire is probably your best bet, so I guess we'll use you. No, I think you're going to use lightning, but who cares? Better than nothing. Alright. Now we just pound him to... Oh, that was it! I barely did anything to him. That was a hard boss, guys. Ah. What's that? What's going on in the water? Okay, yep. Let's see what's going on. Please. Alright. I think it's time to finish up, guys. Second chance we get, we've done. The magic spells worn off. Or in this case, the curse. Princess. Oh, I wish you would stop with the rhyming. It's so annoying. Alright, we're done here. Alright, magic complete. Let's talk to our little friend here. Yeah. Alright, come on, hurry up. Disappear. I want to see what I'm talking to, what I'm doing. Okay. I know that house. Guys, you know what he's talking about, don't you? We're talking about that house we went to early on. Alright. We could easily go back there if we really wanted to. Oh, we're done here anyway, so let's move on. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, so... Alright. You? Yeah, I think that's how they... Alright, let's go. Should be... oh boy, these guys. Yeah, they can shoot you guys. We don't want to do that. Okay, let's get back to fire. I think fire is probably going to be my best bet here. Alright, let's get back to the main party. We're going to use fire. Alright, should be enough. Let's go for it. Yep, nice try, pal. Alright, behind him. Alright, so some of these enemies going to be annoying. 49. I'll probably be able to beat him in the next turn easily. And he's done. Yeah, okay, got this. Oh, he got... That's a hard hit. Okay, someone will reply. I thought he was. Oh, great. He's got counter. Alright, he's done. Takes about 3 hits, but we can do him pretty easily. Alright, let's go up. Nice try, pal. Alright, a tree. I'm assuming he's going to be weak against fire. Both of them are going to be weak against fire, if I'm guessing. Yep, vulnerable to fire. He's vulnerable to fire too. Alright, fair enough. Oh god, this guy's really... Oh great, one of them's going to get hit. Wait, he is gaining strength. And he's done. Now it's your turn, pal. You're going to die too. Ah, damn it, I hate when he does that. Has the ability to counter. Damn it, I'm running out of power here. I need... Man, I wish he'll stop doing that. He can counter. Let's see if he lasts long enough to use it. I mean... Alright, I'm going to finish up, guys, I think. I think we're basically at the end of my usual stream hours. Okay. You know what? I think we are... How do we end this game? Alright, how do we save? I think the game saves automatically, so that's why I think it's like that. Let's go up it. Let's just see where the game put me back. Oh, why do you gotta connect every 5 seconds? No, remind me later. I just want to see where it puts me. It should put me in the beginning of this area. Alright, just here. That's fine. And then on that note, I'm finishing up, guys. I am so done. I'm going to have lunch. Do my let's plays. That's really it. I am out of here, guys. Cheers. I hate when it does this.